Cool. Welcome to UX and Coffee with
Yeah,
Jen and Claudia.
I've chose today my favorite coffee cup, which is
Oh, let's
I
see.
love Snoopy.
Snoopy for
I love this
president.
Snoopy for president. So I got this in the U.S. for the last presidential elections. So it's one of
Oh,
my
cool.
favorites.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I love it. This is a new mug. One of my neighbors, one of my new friends, got me for my birthday, and I love it. It's so cool when somebody who you've just met, like, I don't know, it's like she sees me. She knows that I would like this kind. Can you see it? It's like,
Yeah, it's like ceramic, right?
yeah, it's ceramic, and this
Yes,
is like
ceramic.
lovely. Yeah, it's
I love
gorgeous.
it.
I love it.
I love it.
Mm, me too. What kind of coffee do you drink? Are you drinking coffee or tea?
No coffee. I have to say this is like instant coffee. Because I'm having like trouble with my stomach. So if I get like coffee with like espresso, that's too much for me. So I'm just like drinking like a little bit of instant coffee with a bunch of milk. So it's like the worst coffee creation probably for coffee lovers, but but health wise, it's what I just can take now.
Is it like those little packets, like one of those?
No, it's just from the like the Nescafe thing, the jar,
Yeah.
like very instant, really bad,
Some of my
really bad.
international friends
It
are
has less caffeine and and I blend it with a lot of milk, so it's like does a little bit better to the stomach. I really love espresso, and I
yeah.
usually do like Americanos every morning, but right now it's too much for the stomach, so I'm
Yeah,
using.
that's what I do. I have a beautiful espresso machine, and I just let it run. So it's basically an Americano, like let it run for 90 seconds, whereas usually an espresso is like, it's pretty short. Well, that's
Yeah.
basically what I drink. But now you're making me think. I haven't been feeling well lately. Like maybe this is not how I should start my day, but it gives me such pleasure.
Yeah, the thing is, coffee. It's 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 a boost of energy. Like it actually it's related to hormones. We were just talking before we started that I have a lot of problems with hormones. So I had a problem with my cortisol because I had Cushing syndrome 5 years ago. And the first thing they forbid me was coffee because it would like boost a lot of the cortisol that I had like in excess in the morning. So I didn't drink coffee like for a year and a half. So right now I just like take whatever I can for coffee because I really love it.
Totally. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I'd be so upset if I couldn't drink coffee.
yeah.
I'm not like, I'm the kind of person that I'll have a coffee. Like this coffee might last me into the afternoon. Like I don't drink it all really fast. I'm like a slow drip person where like I'll have a coffee that lasts me sometimes, not all day, but like into the afternoon.
That's a good one because a lot of people like to drink like Italians. They like to drink their coffee like really hot, like in one shot. And like I'm like just like you. Like I could have like the coffee, like I could drink it cold. I don't
Yeah.
care if it gets cold during the morning. Yeah, and this would last also like until midday.
Yeah. Yeah. People
But
think
it's
I'm crazy. I'm like, it's like iced coffee. What's the difference?
unless you sit in a coffee place and then you have like a limited time to drink your coffee,
That's true.
you
That's
know.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining today, Claudia. It's always so good to see you. When I started this, this is only um, the third UX coffee and UX. When I started it, I shared that one of the reasons why I was doing it was to hold myself accountable. It's like get up, get on the screen, start the day, and and it's motivating to talk to people, right? Like when you're working from home, you could spend the whole day just, working on your own, and it's nice to be able to like talk to people and get going. And today was definitely one of those days. Like, I'm not feeling well, and if we didn't have this morning, I would definitely still be in bed right now. So thank you for joining this morning.
No, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you. I have for everybody. I've known Jen like for 10 years now, more probably.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We were together at UXPA at the board, and it's always a pleasure to be with you. So
Oh, thank you.
we have had so much fun times together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm from Chile. I don't know if everybody knows, but I'm from Chile. And right now I'm in Santiago. I usually live between Santiago and Patagonia. So I speak Spanish. My English is my second language. So if I'm not very, very like have the best words, it's because of that. I try to do my best. And I'm in UX for over 20, 25 years, I think. Mostly strategy, now in artificial intelligence.
Awesome. Yeah, can you share a little bit more actually about your background, what you've been up to for the past 20 years?
It's a long time. Yeah, my background in communication. Yeah, progressionally. My background actually it's in communications. I started journalism because back then, like 20, 25 years, 30 years ago, I'm sorry, 30 years ago, we didn't have like a whole communication studies, like general communication studies school. So it was just journalism here in Chile. But the thing is, I finished my degree at UCSD in the US, and there I learned how to code 1997 because like their communication school is much broader and they have like different subjects. And I was all the time I was very curious because I love design and I loved art history. So I did and my major was in communication and my minor was in design and art history. So I said, how can I combine these things? And then I was good at math. So it was like those people that don't know their way, like I studied communication. I was very good at math and I also loved like the very creative side of things. So when the computers came, it was like this is the place where I can be. So I learned how to code, and then the internet was starting here in Chile in Latin America around 98, 99. So I was able to be part of the first internet big websites here in Chile. And then I moved to Spain. I was also able to work there. But in Spain, as I had this background in journalism, I went to work at a newspaper, a big newspaper in Madrid called El País, in the infography section. So I learned how to do like the interaction design, and it was the first part of the digital interaction side. Like we were working with Flash and all that stuff, like really old stuff back then. But that showed me how to design communication for very tiny spaces. And then the work user experience, our information architecture was like the first days we would hear from that. That would be like 2000, 2001, around that time. So that as okay, so I saw my path really clear. I said, this is what I want to do. I want to communicate for others to understand information visually, like in text wise, and how to code and understand code to be able to deliver that information for people to use it. So it wasn't called user experience back then, but I started doing user experience, and then I started doing user research because I kind of knew that I should understand how the mind of the people would work so they can approach to information much better. So I started like combining like this UX unicorn personality back then. Like we would know a little bit of everything. Like I was stronger in communication, but also had design skills, strategy skills, research skills, coding skills, like front skills. And so I started my career like that. Then I worked in one of the biggest airline websites here in Latam, which is called Latam, still with one of the biggest airlines. And then I went to teach at the university. I was working at the university as a chief digital officer for 13 years and teaching as well in the largest university here in Chile. And there I learned how to include from all this design, communication approach, like how we would deliver this information visually and text wise and multimedia wise to people, how would we would understand users to consume this information, but how that was related to data, because information would come from data. So I began to be specialized. I studied postgraduate studies in data and in artificial intelligence, and I delivered an ontologist, a web ontologist project on data. So I became obsessed. I became obsessed with data. So, and that's what I'm doing now. Like I've been working in artificial intelligence and how the merge of artificial intelligence and user experience for the past 5 to 7 years so far. I've worked in startups, and now I'm doing my own consultancy. So it's like a very, very combined, different journey, like they're very different skills, but here I am.
Awesome. I love that because oftentimes people who are just getting started will think that it's linear. I decided what I was going to do, and then I just took classes and got a degree, and then worked here and worked there, and it was just this linear fashion. But your path has been different, and you've worked in different kinds of companies, different kinds of environments, and it sounds like as time has gone on, you have continued to evolve, which is amazing, right? Like you didn't just find something that you liked and stuck with that one thing all these years, but you've continued to evolve. And then especially getting into AI, which is obviously a big thing right now, but it actually sounds like you're ahead of the curve because you've been working on it for years.
Yes, I see myself since the beginning as a creature of evolution, and I think if you are in technology, you need to consider yourself like that, because technology evolves with us, and it actually goes at a much faster pace than what we go. Like the learning curve, it's usually very, very, very fast, and we need to be on top of things. So, but seeing like the whole history of user experience, like how it evolved and how like I gave a talk in November in Buenos Aires to in the Latin American conference on design interaction, and I was telling everybody like I always say I'm a dinosaur in this because I've been here. I'm not that old. Well, not that young either, but I've been in this field so much time. But I saw what is happening now with artificial intelligence. What when the change of paradigm in 2000, in 1997, 1998, 1995, when the web emerged. When the web emerged and Tim Berners-Lee was creating the World Wide Web back in the 80s, and then all this started to be like more into universities and then into the commercial space, like the tech with the big tech companies. At the beginning, nobody knew what we were doing. Until today, my mom doesn't know what I do, Like, you come from a whole different paradigm, and then everything changes. And the first approaches to that paradigm are very experimental. So right now, like, what is happening with chat gpt and not getting like the right answers when we're interacting with with gen ai, like with generative ai. It's the same experimental situation we had in the 2000s when websites were not usable, We couldn't do all the things with different websites. The colors were not the perfect ones. The design was not the one that would attract or had a good narrative with the audience. So I think today we're just in another phase of evolution of technology. So I think artificial intelligence is a change of paradigm, but for me, it's a very similar change of paradigm when the internet emerged. So
Mm.
I think it's gonna change, yes, but we have to take it as it is. It's like we were sending letters on the mail 20, 30 years ago. We still get letters in the mail, but every time, every day we get less mail, like now we get emails and we get like WhatsApps or whatever. Like our communication is just a faster pace. But the idea of communicating is there, so what it changes the means. It's the
Mm.
way of doing it.
Hmm. I really like that analogy. One of the analogies that has come up now a few times is the calculator, and how the calculator did not take away jobs from accountants, but it helped them to be more efficient. So when UXers are talking about AI and how AI can take away our jobs, I refer back to that analogy. But I really like these other analogies you're bringing up as well. Like when everything went digital, did that mean that the companies who were making filing cabinets, were they going out of business because now everything was digital? No, you could still go to the store and buy filing cabinets. Has it changed? Sure. Fewer people are buying, proper filing cabinets, but they do still exist, right? And same thing with mail. Like, we're getting less snail mail. We're getting less mail in the mailbox, outside our home, but we do still get mail, and it's a change, and we have to be open to the change and roll with it.
Exactly.
People are often adverse to change,
Yeah.
especially with something like AI, where it's like there's so much unknown. But you're right, it was like that when web became a thing, when websites became a thing. People didn't really know what it was or what to do, or what the benefit was. But now we know. Now we have that knowledge.
Exactly. Like, who would have think that 20 years ago you would be buying your clothes online without even trying them? Like
Right.
shoes, and
Right.
who would have thought like I'm not gonna try on a shoe. And now, how many shoes do we get? Like, we can get so many shoes and then return them, and then we try
Yeah.
them at home. So, like the fitting room is our house now. So it's not like the act of buying disappeared. It's a change of how we're doing it. So that's what I am really like trying to advocate now for people to be able to understand AI and see how AI can help our lives and can like migrate from what we're doing in a way today. And like, for example, taking notes in a meeting. Like, we do use a notebook for taking notes, right? And right now we have like AI software that can take notes for us and even combine notes to get like more collaborative thinking in different meetings and get ideas and make boards. And that's great because it's increasing productivity, it's an increase probably in creativity because we're getting ideas combined. But the idea of taking inputs from a conversation, which is why you take notes, is still there. So I think that the whole industry has created a black box on how algorithms work, and they have said like artificial intelligence is gonna steal your job, and it's like the worst plague, even worse than COVID. But it's not like that. It's like an evolution of technology, and if we are not ready, the thing is, we need what you were saying, Jen. We need to be ready to accept change. And it's not the change of the fundamental thing we're doing, it's the change on the way we're doing it. I remember when I was teaching at the university. I started 2006. I would teach Flash, Dreamweaver. I would teach
Mm.
like who,
Oh yeah.
and I was telling them, I feel, I remember this very clearly. I feel like all the things I'm teaching you is things you're not going to use when you go out to work, like in 5 more years, because probably this software is going to get obsolete. And actually it did. It's not like I'm a magician or whatever, but it's like I don't want you to learn the software. I want you to learn what is behind the software so you can tell stories better, how to do interactions, how to be able to use image, how to be able to use text. So the thing is and that is what we really need to accept. And a lot of people don't accept change. And that is the problem. I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
But they want to tell us that AI is gonna. It's like this big dinosaur is gonna eat us. And I don't think.
From one dinosaur to another.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about Dreamweaver. I forgot about I use
Tell you about front page and home site where I started. That's really like Ice Age.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about tech in general? Like I've heard folks talk about people aren't investing in tech anymore. Like that wave has passed, and now I've even heard talk of people going back to like old school businesses, like the not sexy businesses that we use every day, like the dry cleaner or the car wash or companies like that. And that there's a lot of baby boomers who are retiring now, so they are looking to sell their businesses, right? So it's like it's a completely different business model, a completely different thing to think about in terms of career or income, business, getting into business, than what we've been doing in tech for all these years. What do you think about that? Have you seen anything like that as well, like in Chile or elsewhere?
I've been reading some articles saying that like this, what's it called? I think the economists call it like quiet evolution or something, of these people that now are 20 something and are getting into business, and they kind of want to take their time, like do things at a slower pace. And again, this is evolution. It's like what you're saying, like these baby boomers that are leaving their dry cleaning business and probably getting to these young people that can twist that business to make it more friendly, more usable for people that are their age. So I think tech in general, tech was a fashion. I'm very convinced of that. Tech was a fashion. Tech was the focus that we have had for this past 25 years, 30 years. But the main focus is not tech. The main focus is how tech helps you to achieve things. And that is like the old fashioned way we have to do things. It's like from industrial revolution that we had machines. Machines helped us do some tasks. Machine helped us like be able to increase the productivity in transportation, in logistics. Like machine helps us to do things faster. Tech helps us to do things faster. Artificial intelligence helps us to think and help the machines to do things faster to increase productivity. But it's a means to a way that has been there the whole time. The essential of humanity hasn't changed. And that's why I totally see. I'm not seeing that much in Chile. I think we are still a little bit obsessed with tech. It's decreasing, and with the pandemic, like everybody, like worldwide, became obsessed with tech. Like everything had to be digital, and the digital revolution was like forced to be even bigger. And like these big tech companies hiring all these people, and now they're firing all that people because they need to get to their essence.
Right.
So I totally agree that it's like cycle. History is a cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's like some people really get upset about the self checkouts because those have taken away jobs from humans. right? People get really feisty about them. They detest the self checkouts, and they'll say things like, "If I'm paying to purchase something at a store, then somebody else should check me out." And it's a really powerful feeling about self checkouts. But if you think about it, it does make things more efficient, right? There's like the fast. I like self checkouts. It's much faster. I like to bag my own things. Even if I have a big shop, I still like to do a self checkout. But yeah, it's similar in terms of people not wanting to roll with the changes and change with the changes, right? Like these advances can help us be more efficient.
Exactly, and see who is using. At least I see it like in my local supermarket here, who is using the self checkout lanes and the normal lanes. At least we have like both options here.
Yeah,
And the self checkout lanes are people that can do self checkouts and that are in a hurry and they don't care how much probably they're charging, because you have the trust that the machine it's working and give you like the correct price and everything. And the people that are using the other lanes are people that have time, that they kind of want to check every price. It's like different ways to
yeah,
do shopping.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then add to it, you can order online and get it delivered to your home.
Yeah,
So there's like another
exactly,
layer. Yeah,
exactly. And who does that? Probably people like have big families who don't have time to go to supermarket. So it's like an increase, it's an efficiency in habits. It's like efficiency in how we do things, but it's not tech per itself. Like tech is a way to do things. It's a mean.
yeah, yeah. I agree. One of my favorites, my friend's 99-year-old grandfather does self checkout, and I'm
Oh,
like, I kind of watch, it's like, ooh, what's going on? What's going on? Does he need any help? But I hover because I love when, especially when older adults do things for themselves. It's so good for cognition. It's so good for physical. He's picking things up and scanning them. Like it's just so good for him. But it's heartwarming. Like that's you would expect that is not the market for self checkouts, but like he chooses that lane. He can go to the lane with a person who checks him out, but he likes to go to the self checkout, and I love that.
yeah, and that's a super good analogy, Jen, because usually we think that the users are related to age spectrums, and like the different of the usage is based on how people use things. It's not related on age. Well, a lot of has to do with age, but or gender, or like maybe yes, it has to do with abilities. But right now, what we're getting is to users being clustered in people doing things alike. Like regardless of who they are, what, how old they are, what are their interests. It's more like in habits.
Yeah,
And that also what everybody's saying now, and that could change. Sometimes you are a different user within a day or within a moment, depending on what you need. So I think that is what technology needs to enable us. And for that, artificial intelligence is perfect because it's a total personalization of how we can do things more efficient, even minute by minute.
yeah, yeah. We just have a minute here left. I would love for you to share. I know you have a talk coming up at UXPA in
Yes.
June in Florida on AI. But do you want to share a bit about that, or are there other events that you are going to be at this year?
I'm usually talking and like going to this event, so I invite everybody to follow me on LinkedIn, and my LinkedIn is in both languages. And yeah, I'm super excited on talking on UXPA in Florida this year about artificial intelligence, and mostly I'm going to talk about the 10 things designers need to know and stop being scared of artificial intelligence so they can design products for artificial intelligence. So we're gonna talk a lot about trust. We're gonna talk a lot about being very self-explanatory, with text, with visual cues, with everything that helps a person interact with the machine. Because people tend to see machines as this is a very dinosaur metaphor, but I don't know if you guys remember Odyssey, 2001 Odyssey of the Space, when they have like HAL, this machine that controlled the world. So this anthropomorphization of the machine is the way we see machines. We try to blame technology or say, oh no, I'm stupid, I cannot use technology. So how we need to consider a machine also a user that is interacting with another user to be able to get a conversation, for example, a chatbot, or to be useful, to be able to trust the machine, to be able to deliver explanatory messages of what is going on behind because the person doesn't know. So we can build trust. We can build an environment that it's like feeling like the old guy that is going to the supermarket and talking to the cashier and buying things, like how we can create a relationship between humans and machines. So that's the thing I'm going to talk the most about, these 10 things that I think that can build that relationship and that could help us designers try to focus when we're dealing with artificial intelligence, and some tools to do that. I've delivered an AI like business model canvas, AI model canvas, so we can actually map where the data source is coming, an AI persona, what parts of the persona we really need to be attentive to research on when we're dealing with AI products.
Amazing. I love it. I was also thinking about the retreat that you're joining in Hawaii in August, the UX research retreat. And as a special guest, we've noted that you'll be giving feedback on strategy, but it would be great to bring the AI perspective there as well. So any of the attendees who are conducting research in the field during the retreat, you can kind of have that bug in their ear about AI and how that might change what we're learning, or even some of the probes we're asking participants. Like we'll work together on that. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm excited to go to Hawaii too.
Yeah, me too. All right, my dear. Well, thank you again for joining. We're over by a couple minutes. It's been so lovely talking to you. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for motivating me this morning as well.
No, thank you for inviting me, Jen. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope, yeah, it was a very enlightening conversation. So thank you.
Yeah.
I talked a lot. Sorry.
It was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And everyone, hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here.
Okay, bye.